Welcome back to the NLC Division 2. I'm Viper, joined by no one because tank players only beyond this point. And we're going to be going into our final game of the evening. It's going to be Nativz up against Orgless. Of course, Orgless coming in off the back of a surprise victory against Verdant in the first game. Nativz also looking to continue a strong run of form in this one with some familiar names down in the bot side. And I'm just very excited to bring you this game. I don't know if Jamad is coming back at any stage. Haven't really decided if he's going to be with me for this final one, but thank you all for staying with us. I'm excited to get in and see a couple of interesting champions. We've seen a lot of draft variation so far this evening. After I called out in game one that we've seen a boring draft, it's been nothing but nonsense going forward. So, Nativz up against Orgless. Of course, Orgless still not fighting under a banner, as it were, just working as a team that held the spot when the previous organization left. Have come in, and there's been some expectations. They have good players across the board, but of course, when you're not with an organization, it's a case of you maybe don't have the same resources or the same infrastructure that has been put in place by that organization. So there's the expectation of maybe not coming in as quickly, even if you have talent, and maybe being less of a constructed team environment and more of a solo queue-esque situation, which isn't really what we saw on day one so much. Of course, Jamalo could tell us more about that, having watched the game, but he's, not here apparently. But there he. Hello. Hey, babe, how's it going?
I could see you struggling, so I
I
hope.
had to talk. I had to
I'm sure
monologue.
you were. I'm sure you were okay. Oh, it would be really funny if you were just gone for the entire part because you lost the fight. Anyway, yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting matchup here between Orgless and Nativz. One because Orgless obviously looked very strong in their opening game, and Nativz as well came out with what I would not call necessarily a traditional draft, but still were very capable at utilizing all of the utility that was inside of their comp, whether it was the Twisted Fate, the Senna, the Karma. I actually ended up quite enjoying their draft, or at least watching them execute their draft, because I feel like if I'd seen a different team on it, it maybe wouldn't have looked as sharp. But yeah, Nativz really pulled out the tricks for that one. So I'm really excited to see what they actually do inside of the draft, which for me, normally I don't get too excited about too many teams when it comes to draft, but I feel like Nativz actually have piqued my interest in terms of what they will put forward here into Orgless.
I'm excited to see a couple of the players down on Orgless. Actually, Arcane Teddy, of course, is
Yeah.
the darling of the UK scene and has been for a few months now. Of course, Tupi coming in the mid lane, which is a player that has pulled out some shenanigans when, of course, on Viperio on the last UK LC split. And we're going into pick ban. Orgless on the blue side, Nativz on the red. And Jamada, anything on your wish list from the draft here?
I feel like Nativz might want to either ban away Twisted Fate being on red side from Topi, or early pick it if Orgless themselves don't immediately be on it. So I think maybe leaving up something that actually, baits Orgless into that pick ahead of the Twisted Fate would be a pretty good bargain. Either that, or Raleigh is very comfortable playing into the Twisted Fate himself, and obviously Nativz themselves are happy playing into it. Of course, both these teams both fielded that champion. So one of these two mid laners will be on a new pick, assuming the priority is as high as I'm expecting it to be in this matchup. But Caitlyn, Jinx, Thresh removed away, Zinzal, and Diana, of course, gone from the Nativz side. So I wonder if we're just going to see, 3 bot laners on one side and 3 junglers on the other one. No, it's going to be that Twisted Fate pick. So they're not willing to leave it up for Topi. Topi, a very, very competent Twisted Fate player. Pretty much his borderline one trick, so not letting that one stay up, I think, is definitely the right call either way. And now Orgless, up to them what they want to first pick. Loads of junglers, yeah, not too surprised as Lee Sin gets locked in. It's always that trifecta for now, and Snillate could go down the Hecarim route. I think was one of the few junglers that did it on Tuesday. But of course, things like the Jarvan and the Viego both still up and available. And if they want to even early pick it, the Gwen for Lundorf, because we saw what he could do on Tuesday.
I was going to say the Gwen might well be the angle if you want to guarantee that for yourselves. Of course, there's the Karma that we've seen at a bit of a premium, but it's going to be the Gragas locked in. Is that guaranteed to go towards that top side?
I think in the current meta, yeah. Which is kind of disappointing after seeing what Lindorf pulled out in terms of performance on that Gwen. So, we'll, cross our fingers, hope that it's going into Snille's hands or something. But yeah, it should probably be the Gragas in the top side and then the Jhin also for Joppa. So, pretty utility heavy opening rotation here for Nativz. A lot of CC, a lot of sort of long range, hard engage, yes, from the Gragas, and also sort of like soft engage, sort of follow up, or sort of annoyance to Orgless. So, what will the response be? Arcane Teddy probably has counterpick in this scenario. Again, the Gragas normally stays to the top side in the current meta, but of course, the most obvious thing will be to lock in an AD carry if they so wish. But they're going to take an early Victor, which honestly for Topi, I don't necessarily mind. I feel like if he's the one having the say on his pick and he's saying, look, I don't mind taking the rotation here, I'll happily have it, then he must be very confident at doing it. And also, Arcane Teddy will be taking up their Renekton. So, top side already locked in for Orgless. I think Nativz, a lot of options here. I think the most primary thing to get locked in right now is probably the jungler, though. I think you have to take that in most cases right now. Otherwise, you may struggle to find a good or a strong in the meta jungler. However, they say to hell with it. We're just going to go down our full bot lane. And I think that says to me Nativz very confident that Ryla and Snille both have a very deep champion pool, and they're willing to just remove away now counters to this Rakan, and maybe also another AD carry matchup. But I expect if they're going to ban away something like the Leona, they will likely follow up with the Nautilus.
I was going to say Nautilus is screaming for the ban list. And of course, when you talked about the jungler them struggling, of course, the Jarvan's there, the Viego's there. There are two very strong.
But I think the issue is though, once you remove those two, you start to default quite low down. But honestly, I like this call out here from Orgless saying, look, you've got the Rakan, the Diana's off the table, sure, but the Gragas is also there. So you've already got two very strong, easy to access knockups to enable that Yasuo to be in this game. And Yasuo, whilst the lane matchup might not always be super favorable in the very early stages of the Victor lane, it doesn't stop Victor from getting comboed by the last breath and any knockups available. So yeah, there's the Nautilus ban we were calling out, and now I probably suspect that Orgless will remove probably one of the two junglers that we highlighted, the Viego. Yeah, they could also go down the Hecarim route, which right now Hecarim looks pretty juicy. I feel like though probably the Jarvan, because you've already got the Victor, and if you lock in something that's a mobile for low fire, then you're probably going to struggle. And I wouldn't want to give over a free Jarvan pick here, but we spoke about this. 3 different junglers here up and available, and it looks like they're just going to land on the Hecarim. So Snille, I kind of get it. Snille is, closer to a carry jungler, so maybe you're just happy to have him off the carry style, but the dive style is still going to be there in most cases. So yeah, expecting that Jarvan or Viego to come in here for Nativz.
Well, I mean, Viego is definitely a jungler who can go in and carry. It's not a case of he's just going to be on utility duty, but the Karthus is going to be locked on through for Nativz, something that definitely not expected.
Yeah, definitely not expected at all. I kind of get it, but now I'm looking at Riley and I'm saying you're probably playing an AD mid, assuming this Karthus is going jungle and not mid, because it shouldn't be going mid, but you never know. Nativz, they've definitely shown that they are willing to play some more out there things from the get-go. The center Karma lane, of course, the main thing there is Ziggs will be locked in on the bottom side. So Orgless, they're going to be, I won't say lacking on the AD profile, but when it comes to doing, things like the Baron in the later stages, it's going to be a little bit difficult to secure, and it's going to just be a Pyke Ziggs lane in the bottom side. So that's really exciting. Pyke, I think traditionally has had a relatively fun time into the Rakan inside the lane, but you're not picking the Pyke to lane, you're picking the Pyke to go in room. And when you're pairing up the Pyke with Lee Sin, I think especially towards the mid lane, it now really sort of stipends Riley's ability to lock in, quite a few immobile champions. So we're seeing the hover of the Kiana, and I wouldn't mind it. Yeah, I was going to say an assassin either way. You need an AD threat in the mid lane. Yone, Kiana, Irelia, they all fit that profile, and it is what we're going to be seeing him on. And honestly, I kind of like it, because now you've got the Gragas, you've got the Irelia, you've got the Rakan diving in, and you've always got that confirmed damage of the Requiem to follow up on top of it. I think it makes sense. And then Joppa as well. Downtown curtain calls. I think this composition makes complete sense from top down for Nativz. The one thing I will be a little bit concerned about potentially is some of the lane priorities in the early stages. I'm not too sure how they will all go. I think that because of Irelia's innate sort of like kill threat in the early stages, Topi's going to have a very, very strong level 1 in order to make sure that Irelia can't take over the mid lane priority. But aside from that, Nativz draft makes sense. I think Orgless, they're looking to scale into those mid-game T fights as well. 2 items on Topi, 2 items on Ziggs, item and a half on the Renekton, and then they're very happy to try and get some resets going for Peep on this night.
I'm excited for this draft. Did Nativz live up to expectations? Did they live up to what you wanted from them in this draft phase?
Yeah, honestly, I think so. You know, looking for something a little more out there that's not crazy off the rails away from the meta. Yeah, I think so. The only thing that's really sort of out of place from the meta is the Carthers and the Irelia. But again, when you're talking about the theme of this draft, which seems to be dive with the Irelia, with the Rakan, and then, you know, have the Requiem over the top, it makes sense. You're looking to just immediately assassinate those 2 carries in Ziggs and Victor. And once you've done that, you're pretty much just working with AD bruisers.
And of course, Orgless on the other side, they've pulled out some curveballs potentially. I like the execute enemy champ, execute tower bot lane that they've got going on from Blowfire and Peep. And the my main concern, I guess, is just, is there a coherent identity within this composition? Because I'm struggling to see it a little bit, but my brain is smaller than yours.
I mean, yeah, I feel like the cohesiveness of Nativz comp, you're just comparing it because on the screen right next to it, yeah, it doesn't necessarily live up to it, but I feel like, again, you know, you've got the Renekton who doesn't mind these skirmishes in the mid game. You've got 3 champions which are always going to be in range of you, right? Gragas, Irelia, Rakan, they're always probably going to be diving in the mid game. So I think not going to struggle there. Same for the Lee Sin, right? A little more mobility, a couple more options, but probably going to be playing Peel into, you know, mostly the Irelia, trying to kick the Irelia out and away from your carries, or trying to make sure Rakan doesn't get very easy engages on top of you. But yeah, I feel like identity-wise, it's not quite as smooth, let's say, as what Nativz have put together. But I think Orgless, you know, they're still going to be quite strong when it comes to, you know, things like wave clear, sort of slowing down the game, especially when Nativz themselves won't necessarily have great siege, but they'll have great ability to dive said wave clear. So it's going to be a bit of a cat and mouse in that regard.
Interesting. So the champions are all going to be doing jobs very effectively. It's just a case of the win condition might not be the most we win through X. They just win through winning, basically.
It's very win lane win game of you, but yes.
I read from the Prophet Gulbug, and he told me
you read the original trilogy of the win lane win game books.
No, I've just the first.
You've got to get on it, man. Those, especially book 3, the plot twist.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a good way to end the trilogy. But yes, I think for Orgless, yeah, definitely not as smooth, but you know, they have some avenues. I need to see Peep on the pike, team up with Born This Way and get around the map to try and you know, disrupt some of the lanes, particularly I think the mid lane. If you can try and keep this Irelia down in the early stages, I think you will be setting yourself up for a little bit of success, because then you're also in a way setting up Topi for a lot of success to try and get all of this damage in.
That's a lot of success overall. So both of these teams will want to end the week on a high. I believe both teams are currently 1-0, so undefeated week for whoever wins this game. And both of these teams have, in their first game, shown a lot of promise, a lot of talent, and it will be now a different kind of test, I suppose. Because you look at this match before week 1, and maybe you say, this is probably going Nativ's way. They've got the bigger names, they've probably got the ability, you'd think, gram for gram. But the way that Orgless played against Verdant got me excited about what we're going to see in this game.
Yeah, no, I think so. And, you know, I think, to me, Nativz, they certainly showed a very strong ability to kind of adapt and play whatever they've been fielded. And for Orgless, I think it was about some of the tenacity shown in their victory and some of their impressive team fighting as well, which there should be, given the drafts, plenty of this game. So I hope your voice is nice, ready, and warm, Will. Because
I just had a little drink, so we're good.
Okay,
ready to roll.
That's good. That's the only disappointment thing I would say about this game is Lindorf isn't on the carry. After seeing that day 1 performance, it
is different. Maybe it's just Lindorf saying, "I know that I'm a good carry player, but I want to show everyone how good I am on tanks and utility, because I need to prove that I am the Renaissance top laner that so many teams are looking for when it comes to their top lane crew." But you said there will be a lot of fighting early. Where are we expecting that, or is it kind of just throw a dart at the map?
Potentially throw a dart at the map. I wouldn't say necessarily expect loads of fighting early. I would say, like, expect loads of team fights.
Okay.
Quite constantly. However, there you go.
Stakes.
Clocked is half HP, so maybe it is just team fighting. Or fighting from the get-go. But that's quite low, and especially if Clock eats one more hook with all the poke and the ignite available for the Orgless bottom lane, could certainly find an all-in.
If you can hit level 2, then you might be a little bit safer, but Orgless trying to race that one down, and in the mid lane, level 2s have been hit, and Doobie you're already feeling the sharp end of some blades as well, trying to exert some dominance before the Victor can get too much farm and too excited about his own range advantage.
Yeah, exactly. Victor really waiting to hit the upgraded death rate. As soon as you hit the death rate, life gets a little bit easier, but in the early stages, really, it's going to be a very scary threat. Anytime you see the passive stacked up on that Irelia, you're going to have to pay a little bit of respect here as Born This Way doing the correct thing, coming into the lane, harassing the Irelia. Now it makes it very difficult for its lane to the point where she just says, all right, I'm going to have to base, potentially blow the teleport as well to come back in time to the wave. And that's Orgless setting the mid lane straight, I think, for them for now. As Topi probably gets a decent reset off as well, assuming he's not freezing, because he stayed there for a little while in the main map, so I think that could actually be the case in the mid lane.
In the top side, we saw Arcane Teddy just putting on some damage. Of course, Gragas can just sustain up through a little bit of it, but Teleport also burnt in the mid side, as you mentioned. Not too much to write home about these early stages. I'm keeping my eyes on junglers. Of course, Born This Way did go mid and has kind of done whatever has been called of him so far. Now he's going to go into that top side as Flash is burnt by both top laners.
Yeah, Flash blown on both sides. So they had the opportunity there to maybe take away the Krugs, but didn't feel like it was worth the time investment, so we'll go for the reset. As mid lane, looks like there's going to be action here.
Doobie needs to be careful. The knockup will be dodged away from the Ignite is burned. Now Pete is hit. Nice stun from the Flash, and Raul goes down for first blood. Born This Way follows through onto Clocks, but he's able to prance out. First blood goes to Orgless.
Yeah, great stuff from Orgless responding to this mid lane play here as Arcane Teddy gets a little bit of a trade-off onto Lundorf. Just realistically wet noodle fighting, but yeah, I mean, Clocks just goes wide on the grand entrance on that knockup. Topi didn't flash it. I'm not sure if he was expecting it to miss or not, but I mean, hell, if that knockup goes up, he 110% dies and goes down for first blood, but fortunately for him, Clocks wasn't quite on the mark, able to flash away and gain distance, and then the follow-up is there from the rest of his team. And that sets things definitely askew in Orgless's favor. And this Irelia lane is still going to be fine 1-1, but it's not necessarily the start you want to have.
Definitely not. Definitely problematic. And the fact that Born This Way got the kill means that he's able to take that advantage and move it around the map. We've got a Chemtech Dragon to start us off. Of course, reminder that while you can't necessarily get that one going forward in your games, availability on the Rift currently in Tournament Realm is very much alive. Fortunately, it won't be a soul though.
No soul at all today, actually, on the Chemtech side of things.
No.
So we will likely be saying goodbye to Chemtech Soul forever.
Good.
Yeah, definitely good.
Peep actually not in a great position. No, needs to be careful. We'll dive on through Ral and get the stun off to see him escape. But the dragon on the map has been stunned up by Snill, I believe.
Yeah. 2 full clears by Snill, and feels confident enough in his lane states on both bot and mid to start this one up. And this Born This Way is actually top side.
This way going through. Nice ultimate from Lundorf just to dissuade the aggression, but he might not be able to get away from Born This Way, who takes one more tower shot than he maybe wanted to. Will be forced to back off. Lundorf survives, but it was close.
Yeah, the only thing that keeps Lundorf alive there is actually the HP, and well, not the HP, rather, the XP differential there. Arcane Teddy wasn't quite level 6, didn't want to press forward or didn't feel confident enough pressing forward, and just kind of left it to Born This Way to maybe pick up the kill. Had he had the Dominus available to him, could have chased him down, and Lundorf probably drops. But unfortunately, for Orgless, not able to find that kill. Lundorf, however, will be forced to use his teleport, and I feel like Arcane Teddy might not have to, so could be a minor advantage, but of course not the Unleashed teleport. Mid lane play potentially in the works.
Ooh, in the mid lane, we've got a fight kicking off. Snille gets the kill in the end. Born This Way goes down, and Nativz even up the scoreline.
Yeah, head scratcher for me from Born This Way. Don't have the numbers. Definitely didn't. Peep was still on the bottom side. And just kind of safeguards his way away from safety. Into the weighing arms of Clocks and Coat. And kind of donates that kill over, and it goes onto the Coffers as well, which to me I think is one of the worst candidates, if not the worst candidate in this game to give it to. As Lundorf is going to be going tank. So Snille, whilst yes, he is technically sharing the magic damage profile with Lundorf, he is the true AP carry on the team. And with Yoppa, with Riley in the game, you'd expect any resistances that are built likely to be leaning into armor out of the two, unless Snille really starts to come online earlier than expected, and magic just has to be itemized.
Snille picking up that first kill. He's coming online, whether it's sooner than expected and how far this will go, if it will snowball into more or if it will remain just the one. But at level 6, of course, Requiem means that he can have his finger in as many pies across the map as he likes, with a long cooldown, it must be said.
Yeah, and also has that first strike as well, so don't forget, we'll technically be printing money every time he R's, assuming he's out of combat. Which we saw a lot of those shenanigans as soon as the rune was introduced to the game. First strike Karthus, just cast your ultimate on cooldown, or off cooldown. And you can make a surprising amount of money in the first 10 minutes of the game. Or the first 10 minutes after you gain access to your ultimate, rather. Still doing a pretty good job of pathing, I have to say. Almost perfect jungle CS in the opening 8 minutes. Did pick up that first dragon as well, which is credit to him. But unfortunately, it won't be having access to this Rift Herald, which is firmly in the hands of Orgless. They have the priority in the top side. They have Peep, who's roamed up as well, whilst they don't have mid lane priority. Nativz, fortunately, just weren't really interested in contesting this anyway. So, Herald goes in Orgless' favor. It's going to take a little while longer. And we'll be down to see where they actually want to put it. You would imagine when Ziggs is on the map, you will see a rotation come out from the Ziggs to whichever lane they are likely to drop it down, as Peep pays a little visit to Riot.
Yeah, we'll be able to get the hook down. A decent amount of chunking is going on through. The Ignite has been popped. Ra should survive as Peep backs away. But we did see the reset from low fire when that Rift Herald was picked up, but moving straight towards the bot side again.
Yeah, straight towards the bot side, Peep. Gonna run into Snille and just force him back towards the mid lane before he has to take a slightly more awkward path, as Born This Way continues to pressure the top side more than anything, but pings on towards the mid lane.
In the mid lane, Pete needs to be careful going low, but should be able to stride out. Clock's keeping vision for a second longer, but now it looks like Born This Way wants to get involved. No 6 available for Rakan, so he's just going to leap to freedom. In the top side, Arcane Teddy takes a swipe, but everyone leaves as friends.
Everyone does leave as friends for now. No bloodshed in that exchange, but it's almost like both these teams do smell blood in the war. They are very much trying to find something somewhere in these early stages of the game. And it looks like Orgless trying to eye up a dive. They know Lundorf is low on mana, but Snille's here. Snille's just sniffed out the fact that his Krugs are down, and they're still going for this dive.
But Karthus is here. They're going to get the damage out. Lundorf will fall. Arcane Teddy doesn't take that last tower shot, and 2B's here now. So Snille has just taken the place of Gragas 3v1, and of course he has the passive which will keep him involved. But Arcane Teddy doesn't take enough damage for the Requiem to necessarily kill him. And it doesn't even look like it's going to be popped from Karthus.
Yeah,
no fire in the bot lane though. He's in Sniper Alley. Dodge away is good though, and Ziggs survives to fight another day.
Yeah, Ziggs does survive for now, and it's going to be Topi picking up all these plates alongside Board This Way on the top side of the map instead. Yeah, it just goes all wrong for Nativz there. Lundorf not able to survive the dive and all of the damage that's able to come out. That's towards Lowfire, who's going to be taken out on the bottom side. Wasn't able to reset in time, I believe. He was certainly low enough to die to the Requiem during that play, but Karthus wasn't on the field. Still managed to respawn and cast that one. So on the bright side, Snille picks up that kill, and it does buy Yoppa not only an assist, I believe, but an opportunity to reset. And now Snille straight down towards the bottom side for this dragon, which should firmly be theirs.
Yeah, second one of the game secured by the team. The mountain gives them a little bit of tankiness, not the most important one when it's just the one that's just early, but it will be secured away, and it's going to be the Ocean Soul, so no new souls showing up today in Division 2 as Clocks needs to be a little bit careful. Snille's in support, Yoppa's in support, and Orgless don't want to overextend too much further. Will back away from the play. They lose out on Dragon, but don't lose much else. Arcane Teddy in the mid lane slices and dices towards his tower. And Orgless will turn up to support.
Yeah. Cast was actually used there by Londorf, as it was an attempt by Peep to try and lock up Riley with the combination of the ultimate plus the Phantom Undertow, I believe. Wasn't able to lock it down though. And we will return to a brief moment of lull where there are no objectives on the map. So this is where things kind of get tricky for a lot of teams, when there's what I like to call dead time on the map, where there's nothing necessarily to play for aside from things like jungle camps, vision in certain areas. And it's going to be all about how, for example, right now, Orgless, they've got priority in the mid lane. What are they going to do at this time, right? Topi's got a bunch of free time, right? He's got about 20 seconds, 30 seconds per rest to come back to the mid lane in most cases. In this case, he kind of just wanders around in the mid lane. So we stay in this stalemated position where Orgless, they're not looking for a play right now because they don't feel like there's an opportunity for one. And it's just about fighting for vision, which Clocks has been very aggressively trying to push in this bottom side river to no avail. Doesn't have any backup like Orgless does on the opposite side. And Arcane Teddy, I've seen this dance a couple of times this game.
Doesn't really come to much usually, it should be said, but we've got members turning up. Yoppa needs to be careful, but on this way in the behind, looking for the damage, gets the kick, gets the damage. Pete is here. Does he have the execute death from below? He's not going to be able to use it as Clocks turns up. 2P running on through. Flash laser will go wide. Clocks is here, Skilly is here, and now 2P's in a heap of trouble. Gets ignited running, but that's not your tower. The curtain has been called. And a comedy of errors see Nativz pick up a kill.
Oh, I know that would be going on pick ban dodge if this was Div 1. That's all I'll say about that play. Really great fancy feat from Joppa, though, to dodge out on the Death laser. And then, of course, the remainder of the follow-up shielded by Clocks. So great response there as Clocks. That would maybe go on pick ban dodge as well. Missing the W on the blue buff.
Now, if we're talking about pick ban dodge, you know what play would go on there from today?
Which one?
Stumpy Cask. Surely.
It was, yes, the Stumpy Cast. What else? What else? I think the back door. I think the entirety of the back door would probably go on.
Yeah. That is true. I reckon the CC chain onto Silas, yeah, that's a very good shout. As Peep actually going to be able to get the hook onto Yoppa. He's going to burn low. The Requiem is landing. Death from below won't get the execute. And the kills are traded from across the map. But Lundorf knocking Tubi back into the tower will get a double kill for Carthus. Nativz turn on the style and grab themselves some kills.
Yeah, and so I was talking about, right? It doesn't quite, work out in the theory that we were expecting of this dive here has gone this way, just being a little bit of a nuisance to real. But yeah, it doesn't work in the sense of, it's Nativz going for the dive. It's actually the opposite way around. It's Orgless going in, trying to find the pick. But again, the response is, the Global Requiem, plus, of course, the Gragas with the cask and all of the body slam CC that comes with him. It just becomes very, very obnoxious and hard to deal with. It's damage that you can't really return. Snille.
Ooh, flashing away from the ultimate from Ziggs does mean he's a little bit reticent to contest, and this second Rift Herald will go the way of Orgless, able to secure that one with a little to no effort. The hook goes wide from Peep, and looks like Nativz won't be losing anyone, but do lose the objective.
Yeah, great amount of pressure coming out there from Orgless to force Nativz away, and I think it also has to be said, great bit of discipline there from Nativz to just give up the objective. Recognize, okay, they just blew his flash, doesn't have ultimate, we don't have ultimate on Lundorf either. The ultimate economy just isn't really in our favor anymore. And our ultimates are very, very important for us to team fight. So despite probably being in a position where, if you look at the inventories, you're like, yeah, they could probably fight. It's just better to give this one up for now. Get a reset in, get position for this dragon, which of course will bring them up to Soul Point, which can provide a lot more pressure for the side of Nativz.
Pressure's exactly what they need at this point in the game, but the gold is dead even. There's no thing between these two teams. I said nothing weird just then, but the fight is going to kick off as Clocks takes a heap of damage and has to dive away, which has been the story a little bit for this flanking support as Arcane Teddy dives over a wall and tries to get the fight going once again. Lundorf dodging away from any re-engage potential as Peep goes fishing. Can't find anything, no, nothing's biting.
Really?
But in the back, Raul on the side. The curtain has been called. The first kill goes over as Aurelia diving around the back line helps pick up a second for Yopper and moves towards the pike, moving up river though. We've got Born this way. He is dead. Arcane Teddy driving through Dragon, diving over the wall and will be able to survive, but Orgless lose 3 and may well lose the objective as well.
Yeah, Nativz, great teleport flank there. I believe that's what got him in position for that flank, and Arcane Teddy just getting, picked on the way out. So I was talking about some of that dive, and we didn't even get to see it in full fruition, really, simply because Irelia was so far on her lonesome, and they didn't even have to feel compelled to pull the trigger on the Requiem either. So that's still in their back pocket if they absolutely believe it's necessary. Great fight from Nativz, and now 1 away from Oceansoul.
Yeah, we're going to have another look at that fight so we can have a breakdown of what occurred. Jamada, take it away.
Yeah, so teleport all the way on this control with here, and I think just crucially no one on Orgless is paying attention to the minimap. It doesn't get pinged out. And unfortunately, it means that he walks directly into the 2 carries here and stuns them both up. Lundorf able to follow up immediately, and the ultimate of Jin from downtown is what finishes off Topi, as Peep just not able to peel an Aurelia off of his carries in a situation like that. Nothing he can really do on Born this way. Left wondering where the rest of his team is. Assassinated in the backline.
So we find ourselves in a little Nativz lead. You can tell from that last team fight that they're maybe the drivers of this game at the moment. But there's really not that much between them. I must say again, top lane has been a quiet affair, which is something that you saw me on the Lundorf hype train. Going on to the Gragas, Clocks again caught out, has to ult to get out this time, and the Requiem doesn't kill this time, but Peep takes a pounding.
Yeah, Peep is level 7. He's 5 levels down on Snilly right now, and I mean it's not uncommon for supports to be very low level. In the
okay, cool. Peep needs to be careful. Born this way is just blocking out, and actually the shots will miss.
Yeah, very very risky though. Peep does ding over to level 8. But yeah, you can see how much damage Snilly is capable of putting out. And actually, if we're not going to have anything happen in the game, because I feel like we haven't seen too much of the rune today, though I could just be incorrect. How much gold has First Strike produced for Snilly, Reed? If you could very briefly pull that out for us, because definitely a stat I'd be interested to know. 500 gold. I mean, it's not bad. It's a 1.5 kill extra in gold. And it's also dealt almost 700 additional damage. That's a ping. Okay, I thought somebody on Orgless pinged out that bush that Snilly was in. But you can see the rotation is coming down. When somebody split pushes like this on the side lane, it's very obvious they're normally being covered. But right now, actually, the coverage just fell away. Relay is actually overstepping.
Yeah, perfect timing from Orgless. Get the kickback and the damage onto Aurelia. Of course, Relay could thrive in these situations, but there's probably a little bit too much going on. Dodges away from the death from below, but still gets taken down by Peep.
Yeah, too many things to dodge out on for Aurelia there, and gets burst down for his troubles on the bottom side. Yeah, coverage just falls away for a split second. Didn't have to stick around for those extra 3 or or 5 auto attacks. And it costs him his life. They find the pick, Orgless on the bottom side. And they will now also return some of this damage down here. Probably get the whole tower, as Nativz, they're just not in position to defend this one. So that's going to be Topi getting a nice injection of gold on his way to his Void Staff second item, it looks like. Though, yeah, will commit. Just panned away as he was running back, but will commit for that tower. Though it's going to take him a little while, Victor. Not the fastest tower taker in the world.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, we go.
And, oh, it's objective bounties too.
Ooh,
I didn't even hear that one.
Very nice for Nativz. Well, for Orgless, for Nativz, it's terrible because the gold is now dead even, and those bounties are still hanging around.
How? Wait, okay. Can we discuss objective bounties for a second? Because
all right, talk to me.
Orgless and Nativz are dead even in gold, and I don't know if you remember the first game of the day.
I do vaguely.
Where a particular team stripped all 15 plates off the tower, off the towers pre-14, had like a 10k gold lead, and bounties didn't turn on until like 17 minutes.
Yeah, maybe we need to go onto the wiki for that one.
Yeah,
You know?
I think we do.
Only I have an analyst next to me
If only.
who would give me this information.
Yeah. If
But
only,
the
right?
curtain's been
One
called. You've been saved. Born This Way times out. They get shot in the back of the head. And now the fight is truly on. I say as the two teams decide that actually just the pick is fine and they're going to back away. But still, it's a good fight for Nativz.
Yeah, Nativz with that pick should be able to just secure the Ocean Dragon. Yes, Orgless still have a couple of tools available to actually fight, but
Requiem, they want to follow up and get as much damage as possible, and they'll be able to take down Arcane Teddy. Can't get onto low fire though, but 2 kills is enough.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Ocean Soul should go over to Nativz here for free. And now all they really have to focus on for the next 5 to 6 minutes is going to be, of course, that Baron buff. And there you go, first gold, first strike gold. Again, just being highlighted for us very briefly. Just a little bit extra 100 just off that fight alone. It just kind of goes to show the power of that rune. Especially, it's a scaling rune. You have to consider the fact that it effectively gives you more gold the more damage you deal. So the later on into the game, the bigger your bursts, the more damage you will produce. I've seen some pretty crazy clips where first strike pretty much prints you an extra kill worth of gold. And then some. Which, it might not sound like necessarily a lot all of the time, right? But, I mean, you think about it, even 50 gold can be the difference between you finishing an IM and not finishing an IM. And especially in a meta like this, where IM completions are probably the most important part of the mid-game team fight, you know? Tracking which team has the most completed IMs is usually how you can gauge the strength of what team is likely to come out ahead in many cases. Well, that first strike gold will eventually add up.
And being able to grab an extra item, even an extra component, is going to be huge in these situations, especially when every time you're printing money, you're also doing a ton of damage to the enemy team. Maybe getting a kill on the back of it, maybe just turning the tide, because we talk about how a little bit of gold can be the difference. We've seen today how a little bit of damage can be the difference as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when you're talking about damage on both sides, it's not really lacking at all. Low fire does need a little bit longer to get to that second IM of his, but once the Ziggs does approach that, he will certainly be a very strong and powerful tool to follow up on some of the dives with that Mega Infernal Bomb. And of course, Topi, we've seen some of the damage he can put out is actually kind of crazy, but an engage already.
In, the CC is chained and the damage is good. Born This Way burns and falls, and Yopper's on a spree.
Yopper is on a spree indeed. It's not the first time that we've seen a Jhin pop off today as
well. Oh, this is the cask, but this time around he's saved by Yopper. Peep dives away, but Lundorf's on the side, just blocking off one exit. Luckily for Orgless, they've got another. The wave is being brought in by Real in the top side, but Baron could be the call.
Yeah, looking clinical from Nativz today. Had a very strong performance on Tuesday. Come the end of it, definitely looked a little shakier, but into Orgless, they are really starting to pick them apart now that the map is really wide open. Into Orgless, they really have to contest this. Otherwise, they are going to be in a big hole.
They won't be able to do anything about it though. Arcane Teddy takes the dangerous route out, but will be able to sneak away. Nativz, Baron on 5.
Yep, Baron on 5, escape with the Ocean Soul, and that Baron is going to carry them all the way to Elder. If they even need it, that is. It's like Orgless really on last legs. I know it's only a 4,000 gold lead. We've seen much bigger leads and spoken positively, but it just feels like the level of execution coming out from Nativz is just sublime, to be honest with you. Over the last 10 minutes, it feels like any fight that they engage in, it has just been theirs and theirs alone to win.
And now they have to use this Baron to take the game even further out of sight. And of course, you said they're looking very good, but the gold might not reflect fully how dominant they are. Now's the time to make it reflect how dominant they are. With this Baron buff, there are towers to stand, there are bounties for Orgless to take. Needs to be a little bit of care just to see how they execute and how they follow through. And Lundorf, extending on his own, has to flash away. Might not be the perfect start to this play. Wasting time, CCing up, but will eventually fall to the death from below. Peep grabbing the kill.
Yeah, and I think I've said it with you before, Will. Nativz commit the cardinal sin of opening onto all 3 lanes with the Baron buff. And they get punished for it very temporarily. But the issue is, you lose a pick like this on the side lane, it kind of just stifles a lot of the time most of the pressure you can put down in a Baron buff. Now, fortunately, because the pick took so long and the wave states were already in a relatively good spot for Nativz, they're actually still going to be able to pick up that mid lane tier 2 and probably pick up this top side tier 2 as well. At the very least, chunk it out quite heavily. But that wave is massive. So yeah, there goes that tower. So in this case, it does work out for them, but you can see opening onto all 3 lanes. Risky business when you got the Baron buff. Always easier to just open out onto 2 and not give yourself the opportunity to get flanked. Try and set up one, the third wave state correctly, but then, immediately make sure that you are only in 2 lanes with that Baron buff. Nativz, little slap on the wrist in this game. I'm sure them speaking with him on the interview will likely be a little bit upset with them, but hey, they still pull out ahead. And it's only 1 minute now until that Elder Dragon. They've pretty much claimed what they probably could have given the circumstances. It's only the bot lane tier 2, which stands up and alive outside of the base. And with this Baron buff, they should just be able to have constant lane priority around this Elder, set up the vision, and then pick on the fight that they want to get as soon as Orgless try to approach this objective in 45 seconds time.
Yeah, grabbing the dragon wins you future fights. Winning a big fight at dragon could well spell, if not the end of the game, then base being cracked. And it's only 30 seconds that Orgless have to decide what they want to do, whether they're going to contest, how they're going to do so. Giving up an Elder Dragon feels pretty bad, as Born This Way has snuck behind enemy lines. But I don't know what he's going to be able to do with Nativz covering the rest of the map. Arcane Teddy moving up to the top side has the unleashed teleport, which allows him to get towards now, of course, post 14 minutes. But it doesn't look too hot for Orgless contesting this objective.
Nope, not all. The pressure is so high from Nativz. They're actually just going to try and force them out from a distance, as Snille just does the dragon with his Irelia. And I mean, yeah, this is just as free a late game objective as it gets. Topio's even forced the flash. So now they know, as soon as they go for that engage, it is going to be
Is it free though? It's not stolen away this time around. Born This Way, he was behind enemy lines, he was in the cardboard box, but he couldn't quite smite it away from Snilla, and it will be Nativz picking up 5 and the cheeky jungler.
Yeah, in that cardboard box, man, just sneaking across closer and closer. Good attempt from Orgless, you have to say, but it felt like Nativz were in most cases going to secure that one. But definitely scary. And I think with that, that probably signals some of the final pushes coming to fruition here.
Though damage on the Yobba, they've got on top of him. He goes golden, but it's so low. Snilla gets the dominating kill onto Victor, though. Low fire could well burn. Double kill, triple kill going on to Karthus. Arcane Teddy is the defender. He's the only one left. I don't know if he's going to be enough. How much can Nativz take here?
I mean, they've got 30 seconds on the entirety of the bot side. Peep's actually got a very short death timer, I think, because of the level of the support there. But they can at very least crack the inhibitors open. Irelia is also arriving here now. So I think they should probably push for the end here. They've got a lot of time until the wave clear and the poke comes out. But maybe they don't feel confident to actually go all in. But there's the Karthus
cast. It's doing a lot of damage. Peep gets halved health, and with the dragon, they need to move back to base. But the mini wave's not big enough. They're just going to leave, and Orgless live to fight another day.
All right, Orgless live to fight another day. The game's not quite over just yet. And I think if they do go for the reset here, they're just not going to have enough time to make use of the Elder yet again. The only time I think they could potentially as...
Lundorf.
Okay.
He's going to make use of it.
He's going to make use of the Elder buff. All right. I love hearing our producer in our ear sometimes, where he just comments on what's happening in the game. But yeah, Peep gets one shot by the Elder, by a full tank Gragas, no less. And that should probably give Nativz the time they need to get back out on the map with the remainder of the Elder buff. It will just about eclipse this Baron spawn up, as Snille also just bought I think a full death cap.
As the kick away from Born This Way, but the curtain has been called. It's ducks in a barrel. Born This Way dodging away from the final shot, but it wasn't to kill. It was to just keep the Lee Sin away from the objective, as Nativz look to grab their second Baron of the game. And this one, you've got to imagine, will be taken right to the Nexus.
Yeah, it does feel like it, doesn't it, Will? Orgless, I think they definitely put up a good fight in the early game, but as soon as we had that map kind of open up, it just felt like it's been Nativ's game from then till now. I think lots of credit.
Thinking about it, Born this way dives on forward. The Requiem's going to give some air support, and the damage is big. Peeper's burning low, but in the middle of the fight, the Victor is doing a massive amount. Argentini takes down Clocks. Yoppa resurrects, but into the jaws of the Croc. It's a shutdown, and Snill and Rad on the top side looking to grab something, anything that they can, will be able to secure the inhibitor tower. Okay, but we're talking about Orgless putting up a good fight early game. What about late game?
Yeah, what about late game? Maybe they can stand a chance here. Against what has been a very dominant Nativz performance so far. Dropper, yeah, just steps too far forward. I'm not sure what's going on there. Maybe felt like he had the damage to execute. Low fire, it's really hard to tell. When you see it play like that, you kind of just scratch your chin and just go like, huh, all right, well. He obviously saw something that I did not. And kind of buys Orgless a whole bunch of time here. And again, that's the kind of death at a timer when you've got Baron, which kind of just slows the entire pace of the game down. We saw it with Lundorf getting picked on the side lane the first time. This time around with the Baron, because they've just come out of base to pick up the buff, they don't have to reset. And whilst they are on 3 lanes, technically, which again, it is still like this, and I just feel like he believes he's in range to auto, and he's just constantly always on the edge of auto range here. It's just a bit of an overstep once the teleport comes in to punish. Yeah, so much damage from Victor, and of course, Arcane Teddy, who goes to finish off Clocks. So just the overstep, which immediately punished by Orgless. So they're still on the ball, Orgless. They're not in that mindset of, yeah, the game's over just yet. Definitely showing some signs of not being fully disciplined in closing out the game, Nativz, in this one. Give Orgless a freebie.
Not faultless in their execution of this game, but still in the driving seat. 9,000 gold in the lead, and have that Baron buff on a couple of members for a couple of seconds more. They might look to get one more wave crashed in. Sieging up on this bottom side of the Rift. But of course, with the likes of Ziggs, the wave clear is pretty good from Orgless. They're trying to retain as much as they can, and doesn't look like that one's going to fall. Ryland, top side though, might be able to break down this inhibitor, chased away by multiple members of Orgless, but they're being stretched thin. Are the team with no ownership, as the inhibitor tower will crumble on the bot side. Inhibitor may well follow soon after. Yeah. The minions on the top side are going to do the same, and Baron buff is just squeezing the life out of Orgless. Is born this way, dives into backline looking for a target, can't find one, gets but low, gets taken out. In the meanwhile, the Requiem will be blown, and members for Orgless burn, and Nativz will pick up the final win of the night, taking themselves undefeated. Arcane Teddy and Lowfire running for the hills. Nativz health bars are a little low, but they're not any lower than members of their opposition. Nexus towers will go down. The game will end, and Nativz, it took a couple of bites at the apple, but they grabbed themselves the win.
Yeah, Nativz definitely overstepped here and there. Closing out of that game, gave Orgless a couple of opportunities to potentially come back into it, but at the end of the day, I just feel like there was too much going on for Nativz. I think their draft was a little bit too hard to overcome without some major missteps, which admittedly we did actually see come out of Joppa, and technically Clock's trying to save his laning partner. But yeah, no, definitely credit for Orgless for holding on as long as they did. Nativz maybe expecting to close out a little quicker on the opposite POV, but yeah, I think Nativz going to a note, probably the more expected outcome coming into this week. Maybe in the fashion that they did it, in some of the draft styles that they pulled out, a little less so, but Orgless can definitely still walk away from this week, chin held high.
Well, we're not going anywhere. We're going to jump to a short break. When we come back, we're going to be speaking to both of these teams, so stick with us. We'll be back in a few. welcome back to NLC Division 2. We're in our post-game segment, post-day segment actually. Myself and Jamada are joined by Yoppa, marksman from the victorious Nativz. Yoppa, massive congratulations on the win and an excellent start to the tournament. What is the main thing that you'd attribute to your success?
First of all, thank you. I think like the synergy we have, me, Clock, Snilla from before, playing together last split, and in addition to like new solo laners, and really clicking together as a team. I like how team atmosphere and everything is really good. I think that's the big reason why we are winning.
Yeah, and actually touching on the pairing of you and Clocks, obviously, know you from the UKLC split with Eminem. Didn't quite always manage to make it the final, that final hurdle, right? Just kind of falling short on a lot of the successes that you guys could have had. Do you feel like with the roster that you have now with Nativz and sort of the different infrastructure and such that you can make you can take the final hurdles, you can put the finishing touches on a lot of the tournaments here in Div 2 on the NLC?
That's the main goal, winning the whole thing and making the NLC. And I think if we keep practicing the way we are, I think we can make it easily.
Loving the confidence, and of course, individual performances have been exceptional across the board in your team. But talking just a quick one about other teams in this tournament, is there an individual player or a team that you're really excited to go up against as a good test of your credentials to go on and win this league?
So first, when I saw rosters, I was like, I think it's pronounced Munster. I'm not sure. Munster Rugby Gaming. I was like, okay, they're like our contestant. Then I saw people like putting Verdant as like the favorites, like super roster, and I was confused. So I'm really looking forward to playing that supposed super team. And players, Syntax, because he's Croatian, and we don't have many Croatian players, so it's always good to play against Croatians.
We've got some good news for you. Syntax earlier today also said the exact same thing. So once you two do meet up, I'm sure it's going to be a bit of a fun match to witness.
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited for that one. But Yoppa, massive congratulations on an excellent start to NLC Division 2, and good luck in the rest of your games.
Thank you.
Right, everyone, one more quick break, and then we'll be back with our final interview of the evening and a quick wrap-up. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a few minutes. everybody, welcome back to the NLC Division 2. I actually trolled you. There is no final interview. It was Jamada all along. Jamada, massive congratulations on finishing your... I need to actually face this way, it's a mirror. Massive congratulations on finishing the first week of NLC Div 2. How do you think it's gone?
Yeah, no, I think it's gone really well. I really enjoyed day one in particular when I was with Archerum. I think it was really. I think it was very, very fun to cast on that day. But not only that, I think we had some incredible games
Okay,
as well.
that's
So
interesting.
yeah.
Some of the people on, some of the commentators and people that have talked about the league, I saw a couple of post shows, said that you've been the weak point of the team so far. What kind of response would you have to the haters, as it were?
Unfortunately, I won't be able to comment on
Okay.
statements made by the community because I value my ability to work on the NLC, so I won't be answering that question.
Okay, that's fine. And final question.
Yeah.
What you have for dinner?
Pasta bake.
Oh,
Yeah, lovely
good
pasta
time.
bake. But funny, weird. Will wanted to interview me aside. Obviously, that's it for the day. Well, I don't know how you want to do this. We haven't really done a.
Well, I will close out. I was just
Uh-huh.
kind of waiting for the interview bit to finish, and then Am I good to do that, Jamado? Do I
Yeah,
have your
yeah,
permission?
no, yeah, of course.
Cool. Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for watching NLC Division 2. The first week has been a lot of fun. There's been a lot of great action and a lot of craziness, talent, and just general nonsense on cast, really. We'll be back next week, of course. Make sure to tune in to Division 1 Mondays and Wednesdays, Division 2 Tuesdays and Thursdays, all at the same time, same place. Make sure to follow the NLC at NLC LOL on social media so that you can follow all of the updates and stuff that gets put on there. Thank you very, very much for watching. And do you know what? We'll see you on Monday.